Dear students, in this module, we are going to discuss about education. So, what is education? Perhaps most of you would know that तालीम क्या है, उसका मकसद क्या है, हम तालीम क्यों हासिल करते हैं. However, to tell you formally, education is a gradual process which brings the positive changes in the human life and behavior. So, we can define education with reference to its purpose. So, education is also a social institution to which society's children are taught about the basic academic knowledge, learning skills, as well as the cultural norms and values. So, in this way, education is actually the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. When you are in the school, for example, what you are trying to acquire is not only the formal education, you are also being taught about the etiquettes, the manners, and about the morals, that how you need to behave in the society. So it's a whole package that you acquire through the process of socialization. So education is also the acquisition and the protection of social order, of political hegemony, as well as of status quo. So these aspects, although are not directly taught to you, however, they are the part of education system in which you are taught in such a way that you should maintain the peace and harmony in the society, as well as you are producing a system that is inherently based on inequality, unfortunately, but yet this is the adherent part of education system in any kind of society. So let's first look at the definition of education, and then we will go further to talk about the functions of education. So formally speaking, education is the process of receiving or giving systematic instructions, especially at the school or at the university level. And it is also the process of acquiring knowledge through study or imparting knowledge by the way of instructions or some other practical procedures. So in this way, the education being the formal institution, it imparts you with the basic skills that you acquire, whether we call it the language skills or the communication skills. So if we talk about the functions of education, one of the important functions of education is the transmission of cultural values. When you go to the school, you are not only being taught the alphabets, but you are also being taught that how you need to behave, how you need to sit, how you need to talk to your teacher, and how you need to talk to your fellow beings with your peer group, and how you need to eat and how you need to dress up. So it's an important aspect of your socialization, that education serves as the medium of transmission of culture. And then another important purpose is social integration. A social integration means that you are becoming part of the society, the part of the normality, the part of the group. For example, when you enter in the school, you would see that so many people are anonymous to you, like your peer group, the children around you. You don't know them, but how are you going to get acquainted to them? How are you going to get integrated with them? As well as how you're going to get acquainted to your teachers, who are also the new faces to you. So these all are the process of socialization in your school. So you get integrated in the society by becoming part of your school, and then by becoming part of your society as a whole. And it prepares you for your future occupation or profession. When you enter in the school, one of the first questions that you are being asked is what you intend to be and what you want to be, for example. And you might answer that I want to become a doctor, or I want to become a teacher, or I want to become an engineer, or a pilot. I mean, you get your aspirations from different sources. However, through the process of education, you prepare yourself to acquire those skills which can lead you towards your desired occupation or profession. And then the techniques of learning different skills. In the school, you begin not only to communicate, but also to write and to read. These are important skills that you acquire. And imagine if you don't possess these skills, you won't be able to proceed further in the whole education system. So these are very important skills that you acquire through this formal education system. And also the process of socialization. As I told you earlier, that you are being told about the manners, how you need to behave, as well as the etiquettes, and also the morals, the definitions of the right and wrong, that how you should behave with someone and how you need to act upon the norms and the standard values of your society. One of the important functions of education that comes later on by the gradual process, is that you start learning the rational skills or the rational thinking. By rational thinking means that you are going to reach to some logical conclusions based on the available information. For example, when you are learning the mathematical skills, you are being taught that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So then rationally you begin to process that information, and you are not always being told about this, but rather you acquire it through your rational thinking and extrapolate that kind of information to the other situations as well. So you acquire the rational thinking through this process of schooling. And then the personal adjustment, because the school's environment is new to you, and you get into the school and you get adjusted to that environment. Although at the beginning you might find it very difficult, that when you enter into the school, it's a new environment, it's an alien environment, and you begin thinking about it, that perhaps, oh, I shouldn't be here, this is not my comfort zone, I should go back to my home. So I mean, you begin thinking about such situations in a very awkward way. However, by the gradual process of time, as the time passes, you begin to be acquainted with this new environment, and you consider yourself pretty much adjusted over there. So it also becomes a part of your personality, that sometimes whenever you go to some new places, you begin to find such a situation that you found in the school, that okay, this is the new environment, I have to make some changes in my own behavior or in my own personality so that I could get adjusted to this new environment or new place. So it helps you be an adjustable person. And it also helps you with the family living. For example, the manners that are taught in the school, you are acting upon when you go back to your home from the school, and you say assalamu alaikum to your parents. So they are pretty much happy that you are learning those basic social skills which are highly desirable in your society. And the patriotism is very important, that you begin to think about your national boundaries, you begin to think about your national values, and you begin to think in a way that you are part of a collectivity, and you need to defend that collectivity, you need to rather serve that collectivity. So you associate yourself with that collective group which you call, for example, being Pakistani, and you begin to be proud of being Pakistani by learning those skills in the school. And also the character building, that all these things are pretty much contributive to your personality, that what you're gonna be, it highly depends on the kind of education that you are acquiring right from the beginning. So character building is also an important function of education. And let's talk about the importance or significance of education. The education gives us knowledge, as we know, and it teaches us the lessons about the humanity, that who we are and why we are distinct from the other species. So, what are our rights and obligations being part of the humanity? So humanity becomes an important aspect of our life. And then education tells us how to think and how to work properly and how to make decisions. So as you know that decision making is an important part of our lives, and as we are grown up, we become responsible and we have certain obligations on ourselves. So how to meet those obligations, we need to decide about those obligations in certain situations, and sometimes the situations are pretty much new, pretty much innovative, and you need to be creative in those situations to make certain decisions, that how should I handle that situation. So all these skills of decision making you begin to acquire through the process of education. So education contributes to human development as well as it highlights the human talents. Maybe you are a good singer, or maybe you are a good actor, or maybe you can write good stories, or maybe you are pretty much creative in writing about the social issues. So all these talents and skills are being explored when you are in the education process. If we talk about the importance or significance of education from our religious perspective, here are the couple of quotations that I would like to quote. So, are those equal, those who know and those who do not know? So it's a Quranic verse that those who know and those who do not know are not equal. So it means that ignorance is not a blessing, rather it's a disgrace for humanity. It is more important to begin learning about your surrounding, to begin learning about the way you are born, and to begin learning about your own process of socialization. So according to the saying of last prophet, seek knowledge even if you have to travel from Arabia to China. So this is how important is this learning process according to Islam. So here are some of the salient features of education in Pakistan. Number one, it is universal and it is free at the primary and secondary level, and education system promotes equality across all regions and across gender as well as across the age groups. And then the relevance, it has pretty much relevance to our job market or labor market, and it encourages private sector as well to be part of imparting education, and it helps us improving the planning, management and implementation capacity that we need to have for our different developmental projects. So here are the layers of educational institutions. We have elite schooling, unfortunately, because of the bifurcated education system in Pakistan, since we cannot afford the education for all. So we do have the elite schooling, and then we have private schooling. Military schooling is also another aspect, and then the government and public schools. And for the religious education, we do have madrasas.